Okay, hello everyone. Before we start, I'd like to explain first about the background and also the purpose of this video. So, this video is made for final examination purpose of sociolinguistic subject. And this video is a group examination. So, this group consists of 3 members. They are Dinda Nafisa, Nurridzka Fadyaramadhani, and myself Muhammad Seoultan Rabbani. And we would like to explain much about language maintenance, language shift, language lost, language death, and also language revival. So for each subtopics will be explained by each person. Language maintenance will be explained by me, Muhammad Seoultan Rabbani. Language shift will be explained by Dinda Nafisa. Language loss and death will be explained by Nurridzka Fadyaramadhani, and finally language revival will be explained by all of us together. And after each explanation, it will be followed by several living proof of the interview that we already did with several people that we know. So, language maintenance. It means the condition of the language that is still be used by the people where the people already moved to the new place or new environment, but they still maintains their first or mother tongue language. For example, my family came from Cirebon. It means that they are Sundanese people and they speak Sundanese language. And now they moved and live in Bekasi, where the people here, the majority is Betawi. Betawin. But my family still maintains their Sundanese language. They are keep using Sundanese language when they meet with another family, for example, in the family gathering or some others family events such as wedding party or birthday party, etc. They still use Sundanese language. It is the first example, and the other example is if we go to the bus station in West Jakarta, we will see that several drivers of the bus there still maintain their Bataknese language because the majority of the driver of the bus there are Bataknese people. So yeah, even though there are minorities there, they still speak Bataknese language to maintain that language. So that's all the explanation from me. So we move to the living proof, and we already contact her yesterday. Her name is Shikal, and right now she is in Maldives. Actually, she is an Indonesian, and she will be the living proof of language maintenance itself. So let's see the interview. Let's go. Okay, hello everyone, and now our group will give the living proof of language maintenance. And here we have a guest that her name is Shikal, and now she is in Maldives. Actually, she is an Indonesian, but she goes there to get a job and then for another necessity. So let's start our interview. Shikal, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, glad to hear that. We hear that you already married with Maldivian. Is it right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, how's the story then?
So, actually, I came here 2 years ago, and I came for work in, uh, in a furniture shop, and because I work as a stylist who also take care of the social media, because most of our sales came from online. So, yeah, sometimes people can ask and be say with this Maldivian language. And I feel like I need someone to help me because it's hard because I was not always here for um in shop, staying in shop with me or with my coworker as well. That's why I find it hard to talk with them. That's why I use dating apps to find a guy that can help me with my issue and can translate my job in here. And yeah, I met some guys. There's some Mauritian, Indian, and other nationality as well because people come here a lot for work. Right? So yeah, I met my husband from the on the few days. I feel like um he's good for me. He also looks very generous. He always be honest with me. He talks to me a lot. He always here for me because he know that I have like a responsibility and stuff in Indonesia, and he told me that okay, I will help you. I can help you. I can afford you and even my family, and that's why I want to marry him. And he also promised that um, he will marry me after 1 year. So after 1 year, we came to Indonesia to meet my father, to meet my family, to meet my mother as well, and yeah, we decided all of that thing in Indonesia.
Wow, we're very happy for you. And so, what language that you use at work as well as with your partner?
I use English mostly, and I also use Indonesia because my I'm sorry, my coworker is Indonesia, and we also have another daughter who also from Indonesia, and um, yeah, that's why I speak English as well with my family also, and my husband also can speak Indonesia a little bit, so I speak Indonesia.
Oh, okay, we see. But what about your Indonesian? Do you use it like a lot in Maldives, perhaps?
Yeah, I use it a lot because then I'm sorry, my coworker is here, and my family also here, and my husband also can speak English.
It means that you're still using Bahasa even though you are currently living in Maldives as migrant minorities. It's wonderful, Shikal.
Thank you. I won't get rid of my mother tongue, my mother language.
Okay, such a nice answer of you. All right, thank you, Ms. Shikal. It covers all that we need, actually, all the information we need. So thank you for your participation in this short video, and hope you have a wonderful life with your family in Maldives, and maybe we can see you next time. Thank you, Ms. Shikal.
Thank
Thank
Bye
you.
you.
Bye
bye.
bye. Hello, my name is Dinda Nafisa. In the previous, Sultan has explained about language maintenance as well as the example of language maintenance case with our migrant minorities guest. Now, I would like to explain about the language shift. So, language shift is the process by which a new language is acquired by new community and usually resulting with the loss of the community's first language. It also refers to the process by which one language displays to another language. For example, when someone moves to a new society, they will adapt to that society, which means they will learn, understand, and use a new language for their daily activities in the new society. And as the time goes by, they will oftenly use that new language rather than their first language because they don't live in their old society anymore. Now they live in their new society and they have to use that society's language in order to communicate with others in that society. That is called language shift. There are different calls for someone that do language shift. The first one is migrant minorities. It is people who are from a community moved to another community and decided to stay there during the contract. The second one is migrant majorities. It is people who are influenced by political and economical factors. For example, the need of work. Migrant majorities may shift both location and language for this reason. The third and the last one is non-migrant communities. In this case, political, economic, and social changes can occur within community that involves linguistic changes. So, what are the factors that contribute to language shift? Well, there are three factors. The first one is the economic factor. It can be social and political factor. They need to use a language that is the majority of that community. The second one is demographic factor. It resistance to language shift and tends to last longer in rural than in urban. The third one is attitude and values. It tends to be slower among communities where the minority language is highly valued, and positive attitudes able to support efforts in using the minority language among communities that use the majority language. So now let's meet our migrant majorities guest named Yuki, who is Indonesian that lives abroad to fulfill her study and job in Germany.
So here we have a living proof of language shift. Her name is Yuki from Indonesia, but she went to Germany to work and study. So hello Yuki, how's German been doing to you?
Hi, Germany has been so. I'll say it's definitely different from Indonesia, with a clear difference in the foreign culture and the fact that it's in another continent. But nonetheless, I'm quite content that I took the change to live there. So yeah, I'm doing fine. And how are you guys?
We're great. Thank you. So I heard you went to Germany to continue your study, right?
Correct. I applied for an apprenticeship as a hotel specialist, or it's called Hotel Faculoida here, since last year on June. It's basically just like vocational high school in Indonesia, but with a great difference that we are paid full time, um, and that we have the opportunity to attend the school and working at the same time. It allows us to work and train in German companies as apprentices while learning a trade or profession in the training institute.
I see. We see that it must be very hard for you to get the opportunity. That's very outstanding of you. And you said that aside from studying there, you are also been working there also, right? So what kind of job that you do?
Yeah, since I'm doing a hotel specialist apprenticeship, that means I am given the opportunity to work in all departments of the hotel, like service in the restaurant, and then becoming a housekeeper in housekeeping, doing dishes, cooking in the kitchen, taking care of tools in the house as the technician, like if there's something broken, if something that is not placed quite right, or that something has to be renewal, then we have to check it and listen to stuff. And then there's also another departments like receptionist and maybe sales department. And if our hotel is big enough, then we will also have the opportunity to organize some kind of meeting and stuff. Yeah. So all departments we have to change to learn in this whole department.
Okay, that's a lot of job that you do. And with everything you did there, did you use bahasa? Did you use bahasa so often, or you didn't?
No, obviously, since the daily language we use here is German, of course I'll be speaking only in German. Though, if the opportunity arose, maybe I could also use English as well, because sometimes there are guest tourists that only use English, or there are colleagues or coworkers that can only understand English. So yeah, sometimes I use English as well, but mainly German and English. So I don't really use Bahasa Indonesia in German.
Okay, so you said that you speak German and also English, and of course Indonesian as well. Then which means you are bilingual in that. And you want to know exactly when do you use English and also when do you use German in your daily life.
As for the first question, I'll say it's a yes. I'll say it's a yes that I am multilingual because, as you said, I can use German and English fluently. Um, as the reason for that is needed for my work, and I use Indonesian still to talk with friends and family. And I actually also learn Japanese, so a little bit daily conversation in Japanese, I can do that. But if you want to know specifically when do I really use these languages, so as for German language, obviously I use it in work activities like with the gas, like sorry, that's the like of German, like like when we talk to the guests, of course, and then most of the coworkers are German, like are German, and even though they're like Outlander, like me, like people foreigners in this country, they use German also instead of English because it's required here. And as for English, mostly when there are tourists from, um, for example, America, there's a lot of American tourists here, and some other countries as well, but like they only use um, English, of course. And there are some coworkers that, like I said, our hotel is so our hotel is like a multicultural hotel. There are lots of people, foreigners people, like me and other coworkers as well that don't really understand German. So instead of German, they use English uh, to speak and converse with others. So their spoken language is English. Spoken language is English. That's why I speak with English with them. And as for the Indonesian, I only talk Indonesian when I'm home because my roommate is Indonesian. But when we meet at work, we use German as well to respect the other colleagues. 'Cause if we use our foreigner language of them that is foreign to them, then I think it's kind of a little bit uncomfortable because they don't understand what we really talk about, and it's workplace, so it's better to use the main language that are spoken there. And when I call with my family and friends, I use Indonesian. And when I'm out with my Indonesian friends, I also use Indonesia. Yeah, so German in work and German at work, English at work as well, or outside. Depends if I talk in English. And Indonesia at home and at when I call my friends.
Okay, so it it means that you have almost completely shifted your native language to German and English most of the time, but have you ever forgotten your Indonesian? Like maybe forgetting some words or phrases like that?
Fortunately, not completely, I'd say. But if I'll be lying if sometimes I got my brain works out and like it got mixed up. If I want to talk in English, if I want to talk in German, if I want to talk in Indonesian or Japanese, it's all mixed up, and then I have to like take a moment of time to resetting my brain to which languages that I want to talk. Yeah, that happens. But mm, I would say I still maintain my Indonesian language. But if you say that it's a completely language shift from Germany and from Indonesian to Germany, I'll say yes. Then most of the time, like I could say 80%, 80% of my time here in Germany, I use German language. So language shift, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's really a multilingual problem, right?
Yeah, yeah, because sometimes you have to reorganize your thoughts and wait, do I need to talk in English? Then I have to resetting my brain. Okay, then I have to think in English as well. Because if I talk in German and then I think in English, that will be, it's a mess. It's chaotic.
Okay. That's a really nice answer from you, and yeah, we got everything covered thanks to you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, Yuki, and I hope German treats you well and stay healthy there. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nurridzka and I'm here to discuss about the topic language death and language loss. Not only that, we also have a real case regarding the topic today, and you can watch it later in the video. So let's start with language death. Language death is when a language is spoken by few, fewer, least, and then none of the population. Language death is mainly caused by demographic factors, started by people moving around places and shifted language. But then, they don't teach the second and next generation their native language. It turns into language loss, and over time, not one of their descendants speaks that language, and eventually the language completely vanished as the speakers died. But there are more than that to language death. There are four types of language death. The first is gradual death. For example, is the replacement of Gaelic to English in some parts of Scotland. And second is sudden death, is where a language has no period of bilingualism and the last speaker is monolingual in the dying language. For example, is with the Tasmanian. And third is radical death, is when a community stops speaking their language as a self-defense. For example, after the massacre of thousands of Indians in 1932 El Salvador, the speakers of Cacaopera and Lancia stopped speaking their language as not to be identified as Indians. And four, last but not least, bottom to top death, is when a language ceases to be used as a medium of conversation but may survive in special use such as religions or folk songs. For example, Celta in Mexico, and it has only a few older speakers in scattered villages, but it survived in the registers of prayer. Okay, now moving on to language loss. I believe some of you aren't really familiar with this term, but I'm sure that most of you experience this. Language loss usually happens in the second generation of a family where the offsprings barely or can't speak nor understand their parents' native language, or at least they're a passive user. They can understand what their parents are saying, but they can't really speak fluently. And next, we have a really special guest here from Austria. His name is Rico and he experienced a language loss. Let's get to the interview.
Okay, and next we have our guest and living proof of language loss. And welcome, Rico.
Yay! Hello, Rico.
Hi, how are you guys? Nice to meet you.
I'm great.
Great.
Thank you. How about you in German, right?
Um, no, I'm in Austria.
Oh, Austria.
The weather is quite gloomy right now, but yeah, should be alright.
Okay. So I heard that you're half Austrian, right?
Yes, I am. How did you know?
Oh, actually, our friends Yuki here told us before. So yeah.
Okay.
So who's the Austrian in your family?
From my family, my dad.
Okay. In Austria, they use a variety of German. Is that am I correct?
Yes, the variety here, majority of people they speak German, but I would say it's the same, but maybe it's a different accent from where Germany is and Austria, but mostly the same. Yeah,
Okay. So if your father is from Austria, what about your mother?
my mother's an Indonesian.
When they're communicating daily, what languages they use?
We mostly use English or Bahasa, a little bit of a mix. Or yeah, I think English is much more preferable.
So is your father does your father speak any other language?
Oh my dad speaks a lot of language. I think he speaks Bahasa, Indonesia, English, German, Tagalog, Pampanga, and I think he speaks a little bit from African language, but I don't know. I forgot.
Tagalog. Is your father perhaps Philippines?
Yes, my dad's from the Philippines.
Okay, I see. What about yourself? Can you speak Tagalog or German?
Um, I can speak German a little bit. I cannot speak Tagalog because my dad but I would love to. I would love to learn Tagalog because where I work here, there's a lot of Filipino people, and every time they come to me, it's like, oh, sorry, I don't speak Tagalog. It's very, it's very embarrassing, but I mean, with a lot of people from Austria, there's a lot of Filipino people. I'm learning. I'm trying to learn a little bit of Tagalog.
Okay, so we see that you're experiencing a language loss from your father's side, Tagalog. And yeah, you don't actually have to be ashamed because it's normal and it literally happens anywhere. So yeah, don't really be
It
ashamed of it.
is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But is there any efforts that you make to learn your father's language then?
Oh yes. I mean, I'm not trying it as a first commitment yet because I'm trying to focus firstly on German. That's the way I'm staying right now. Oh, probably when I'm already confident in my German that I can speak fluently. Maybe my next project is gonna be Tagalog. It'll be nice. It'll be nice
One
to
by one.
yes, one by one, not two at a time. It's a complete headache, catastrophe.
Do you know any Tagalog phrases that you can share to us?
Yeah, sure. I know one. Tagalog. So Tagalog is a similarity to Spanish because we have the history, and so there's a lot of similarities. So, for example, how are you? It's kumusta ka?
Oh,
Kumusta ka? And thank you. It's salamat.
oh, okay.
And there's a little bit similarities from Asia also. Salamat, I know, is like you're welcome, yeah, like a place, see here, a pleasure. But salamat in Tagalog is to say thank you.
Easy. Okay.
And what
Any other?
what and the other is a bad word.
Oh,
Would you like to know?
please, please, yes, yes, because we are learning.
Boleh, boleh.
Yes. Your dad is behind you. Is that okay?
Is it okay?
Oh, I know. Kamusta ka? Mabuti. Nggak ngerti.
It's okay, it's okay.
But it is interesting. It is interesting. Just one more. Oh, sorry. And so the bad word. What was I? The bad word. It, it's. I mean, it's a light bad word. It's not a heavy one. It's bobo.
What is that?
The bobo is just an idiot.
Hmm.
It's simple. If you want a much more heavy one, I have. But I probably the one watching this video already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So sorry. Continue. I'm sorry.
Actually, that's all that we need from you, and thank you for the little Tagalog lesson. Yeah, we really, really appreciate it. And have a safe flight back to Jakarta.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I hope that.
Hopefully I got a seat because in the ticket I saw that I didn't get a seat. So I wish everything's gonna be fine.
I hope. I really hope you get a seat on that plane. Okay. Thank you, Rico.
Thank you, Rico.
Uh,
Thank you.
Okay, continue to the next topic that our group will discuss. It is language revival. So, there are two factors that can cause language revival, such as attitudes to minority language and the pattern of language use. We will start from the explanation from Dinda Nafisa, attitudes to the minority language.
So, attitudes to the minority language in language survival is where it is valued and regarded with pride as identifying the minority group and expressing its distinctive culture that is more chance of it being maintained. Where it has status in the community, this will help too.
Okay, and the second factors that can cause language revival is the pattern of language use. What does it mean? It means that the more domains, that the more the minority language used, it means that there is a larger possibilities for that language to be maintained. Or in a sample explanation, if a minority language spoke more often in several domains, it means that language can be maintained longer than before. And continue, we will give the example of language revival that will be explained by Nurridzka.
Welsh English bilingualism has become a reality for children who are taught in Welsh at school. Now, ironically, it appears the success of these programs may again be under threat as a result of the economic situation of the English. Poor and unemployed families from areas such as Liverpool has moved to Wales because it is cheaper to live in. At the other end of the social scale, richer people are exchanging small townhouses in the south for more larger houses and lands in Wales.
The children of these English people are a threat to the success of bilingual programs since they see no point in learning Welsh. Once again, economic factors are likely to be important in assessing the long-term outcomes of efforts at language maintenance and revival.
Okay, so that's all our explanation about language maintenance, language shift, and also language revival. So here we are in the ending part of this video. But before the video finish, I'd like to sum up all of the explanation and also the example that already discussed before. First, language maintenance. It means the condition of the language that is still be used by the people even though they already moved to the new places, new surroundings, or maybe they become minorities there, but they still use their first or mother tongue language. So that is called language maintenance. And for the living proof, we already had Michiko. She is actually Indonesian people, but now she is in Maldives, but she still maintains her Indonesian language because she still use it when she talks with her family and also when she talks with her colleagues at work. And the second, language shift. It is the condition where people shift their language for particular purpose. For example, for educational purpose, maybe people continue their educational to the foreign country, so they need to make friends there, so they should shift their language to the majority language of the country that they going to. And then maybe there are any other purposes such as work purposes or others. And for the living proof, we already had Miss Yuki. Now she goes to Germany to continue her education and also working as well. And there she totally shifts her language from Indonesian to Germany, and sometimes she also speak English, but she almost never speak more Indonesian because she had no friends or any people that she knows. There is none Indonesian there. The third is language loss. It happens when the speaker of the language keep decreasing and decreasing. It is usually happens in the second generation because they do not learn their tribal or hometown's language anymore. And we already provided the living proof. He is Mr. Rico. His mother comes from Indonesian and his father comes from Philippines, but Mr. Rico cannot speak any Tagalog language. So it means Mr. Rico experiencing the language loss from his father's side. And the fourth, language death. It is the continuation of the language loss. So if the second generation do not learn their tribal or hometown's language, then the child of the second generation will not be able to speak or even know their tribal or hometown's language because their parents, which are the second generations, already forgot about the tribal or hometown's language. And because of this, the language can be called as a language death because it starts to have no more speaker. So the speaker getting a fewer and decreasing until the language has no more speaker. So when the people die, the language die with them. The last is language revival. It is the condition of the language that almost experiencing the language death, but fortunately the language can survive. And there are two factors that help the language survive. The first one, the attitude towards minorities language, and the second one, the pattern of the language used. So The first one means where the language it is highly valued, then that language can be still maintained. And the second, it means if the language using more often in several domains, then it is more possible for that language to be maintained. So that is language revival. I think that's all from our explanations that followed by several living proof as well. I hope this video will be useful for any positive purposes. And as the representative, I'd like to say sorry for any shortcomings that come in this video. I hope that this video will help us much in our final examination score. So thanks for watching and see you in the next chance. Bye.